Welcome back to our YouTube channel. So we have been away for a good 4 or 5 years. I don't even really know how long.
I think it might have been longer, more or less. I don't know, just a long time basically.
It's been a long time. And there's a few reasons for that really. The first reason is we're not vegan anymore. Because it was making me weak. And I started breaking PRs and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to get weaker. So... no, it's nothing to do with that. We're still vegan, and the training's been going really well, and that's actually partly why we want to jump back on the YouTube, because we want to start showing true potential of basically being a bodybuilder on a completely plant-based diet, and also not using steroids. So there are some vegan bodybuilders out there who use steroids, and people use that as the excuse for them being big and strong, whereas we want to be the example where obviously you can't trust anyone on YouTube 100% when they say they're natural, but we know we are. There's nothing really we can do to that. I'm not going to do drug tests to prove it, and you know, you can do drug tests and people still won't believe you, so it's not the point. Anyone who knows me knows that I've never done it, and even my brother, he will openly admit 4 or 5 years ago he did do it, and it was a very short cycle.
It was. Well, I just had curiosity in me at the time, like as most young people do when they... Well, I was still trained for a good 5 years before I even took it anyway, so I still was quite advanced in training in terms of doing it. Not as I am now, because I've learned a lot since then, because I thought I knew a lot then. I know a lot more now, and we're still learning. Every day's still a fucking school day, as they say. So
yeah, exactly. And we actually say as well, when he went on the gear back then, the training we were using was our old training methods, which we thought was optimal, and there is no optimal way to train really. The optimal way to train is the safest way to train, and the way that you enjoy training. So you basically want like a program where you want to keep turning up every day, or every day you're scheduled to be in the gym and attack it. You don't want it to be like, I can't be bothered because I don't like the routine. It's got to be exercises that you like, as long as you're hitting all the muscle groups in the right way. And our key thing is that the key difference in our training now is, I'd say, range of motion. We thought we were hitting full range of motion on a lot of things, but we were for the most part, but not quite taking it as deep into range as you actually can. And also control as well. Control is just there now. There's so much more control for the most part. And yeah, so we can get into this in another video, but point being is, the reason we took a bit of a break from it is it's quite hard to come on YouTube and tell people how to train when training philosophies are constantly training. We constantly are changing the way we train because we know our previous ways aren't perfect. And now I've kind of accepted the fact that because that is the case, we can't just hide from YouTube and not help other people get bigger when we actually do know how to do it. It's just that we're trying to always perfect it, but there is no such thing as perfection when it comes to training. There's your way of training, and that's pretty much it. You've just got to, come up with a program that you can adhere to. I've since competed in a classic physique show because I was actually brave enough to show my legs, which back when I was doing YouTube 4 or 5 years ago, bloody hell, if I jumped on a classic physique stage, it would have been an embarrassment. There would have been absolutely no legs.
There's a big noticeable difference compared to that now anyway. So
yeah. So,
and there's still potential for even bigger legs, even now, even though you've grown a lot since the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, exactly. Even since I did that classic show, I still was looking at my pictures and I look at my legs, there's still a weakness, a massive weakness, but even since then they've grown so much, and that's due to, training knowledge constantly progressing, never thinking that you know it all, and just always training hard. And actually, the other key thing I would say is, I don't need to go into too much detail about it, is actually just having a program that you can stick to in general. Like, if you're not good at remembering your numbers, write your numbers down. Like, David doesn't logbook, but I do have to think you rely on my logbook in a way.
The main thing is I remember the numbers I do on my compounds. I know that you should do it on every exercise, but if you can get the main exercise remembered in your head at least, if you don't logbook everything, I think that's pretty good. So yeah, do that.
As long as you can train in a way that you hold yourself accountable every time, so that you don't let yourself, accidentally slack. That's why for me, I'm actually really guilty of that. I don't necessarily make myself train hard every time. I don't like that. I don't like paying that much. I'll admittedly say that. So I need a logbook. I need it to say, last week you did like 7 reps. This week you need to get 8. oh, you did 8 reps last week, you need to get 9 this week, or at least aim for that. Like, it's not gonna happen every time because your body's getting tired, you hold fatigue and blah blah blah. But it keeps my mind in a place where it's like, I need to train hard. Like, I'm not going to not train hard because that was my numbers before, and I know I can do it. It's visual. You can see in your logbook, you've hit those numbers before. You can do it again if you want. Whereas if you don't do that, or if you don't ever remember your numbers, one day you might turn up feeling in a mood where you can't be bothered, and you're just like, you know, I can't be bothered today. I'll just accept that I'm going to do 5 reps instead of 7. It's like, that's not good enough. Like, you've got to train hard every time if you can, unless you're holding so much fatigue or you've got an injury or something. And like, let's say you've been going really flat out, like months on end without a day off or no deloads, nothing. Okay, you might need to pull back, but yeah. Anyway, we're getting into too much. We just want to kind of show, where we've been. Yeah, so we've not been training. We've actually been training harder than ever, but we've been trying to perfect our training so that we can actually talk on it without giving crap advice, because there is so much bullshit, like bodybuilding advice.
Lots of like shitty shorts you'll see, and it's like, oh, do this and do this instead.
Yeah. Oh my god, we could. Yeah, that's something we could fucking go on.
People who have been barely in it will just say that and think they know the shit. It's like, no, you do not.
Oh, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. But yeah, so some of the shorts are great, but whatever. We could go on and on and on and on. That's where we've been, but we're back, and we're going to do our best to be as consistent as possible with actual good YouTube bodybuilding content. And of course, our main thing being plant-based. There's no excuse to. Well, there is an excuse to be not being plant-based, but it depends what. I think it depends where you live, and what you've got access to, and blah blah blah.
Where in the world you are, really. It's not because most modernized civilization will have plant-based alternatives with fucking meat and stuff.
You might have dietary requirements, whatever. But our point is going to be with this YouTube channel is that if you want to build as much muscle as possible, I'm not going to accept your answer when you say you need to eat meat to fucking do that. You can get fucked. Because it's not true.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it, man. Like,
I'm not being funny. Like, we've got pretty big in these last few years, and I can promise you it is natural. Yes, okay, he's admittedly said he's on a cycle, but
I know I only did it for
years, and nothing really.
It's been 5 to 6 years at least now, and I only did it for 10 weeks.
Yeah, it was a very short result, wasn't it? Like, it was a good result, a strong result. And when people say, oh, steroids don't work, they do. We know that. But when you come off, you do deflate. And he had a foundation before anyway, and where he's at now is a natural physique. It's 100% naturally attainable. We're pretty similar size, so
I was, and even just a month after or two, it was after I did my last injection, I just suddenly started getting weaker and weaker on my left arm, my tricep, and then I just got weaker. I don't know what the reason was, but I had to see an osteopath for the last 2 years just to start trying to get my strength up again. But it just basically showed, just don't give up if you get any injuries and stuff like that too. So
yeah, and point being from that is that we don't know what it was, nerve damage, whatever. But anyway, he lost a significant amount of strength, and basically,
and that's what put me off the drugs after too.
Well, after that, your physique regressed to the point that you were smaller than before you, your natural peak. You were much smaller, and you'd lost loads, and you've built that back up and some.
Yeah, I'll have to get some pics of before and after, really.
You completely lost your physique, and now you're actually in better shape now. I believe that. Anyway.
Right, we are too long anyway. So.
I think it was just right. So it's a good explanation where we've been. We're about to go and do a pool session in the gym. We've got pre-workout in.
Got ABE.
ABE. So yeah, we're fasted. We're gonna go hit a session. We're not recording this one, but you'll see. We've done plenty of videos in there. They're ready to come.